Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book. Here at the South Point Studio, I'm Jeff Parles. Oh, boy. Wow. We have carnage on the set already. Yeah, that's not right. That's not right.
Listen, I book the games. I don't do any. Get this equipment out of here. What's going on?
Yeah, Vinny might have to pull Jimmy there. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White is here. Yeah, you have no choice. Vinny Magliulo is here at the top of the show here today. Good morning, Alex. Good morning, Vinny.
Good morning.
Are you okay over there for Jens?
Yeah.
What happened to you over there?
I don't know. This chair won't cooperate. So
that's not a good sign.
Anyway, I'm going. Like I said, I'm going to stand. I'm going full on Jimmy Vaccaro.
Full on Jimmy Vaccaro here today. So, Vinny, let's just start off here. Let's start off with this. There's apparently some football game going tomorrow.
Yeah.
Apparently. So we talked about this yesterday on the afternoon show. Myself, you, Chris, Jimmy was here for a little bit. Jeff Whitelaw was here for a little bit as well. So you guys left us with this yesterday, that you would not be surprised if the Eagles ended up closing the favorite in this game.
Wouldn't shock me.
Hasn't happened yet. Hasn't happened anywhere. It's 1 with Kansas City. It's 48.5, which, by the way, the total going under, betting to the under has been the most consistent thing from a traditional sense this week. But, Vinny, what are we at right now this morning? There we go. Look at that. We fixed it. What teamwork.
Wait a second. Now,
what teamwork. Now you're too small.
Is this like the gag chair? Hold on a second.
We'll give Vinny a moment to join the adults table here in a second.
Hold on a second. Undaunted.
There he is.
Undaunted.
You know, Vinny, what was the last time you sat at the kids' table at Thanksgiving?
I was going to say, a minute ago, I was the center for the,
you were Andre the Giant
for the Knicks, and then I needed a phone book to sit on.
Andre the Giant to Muggsy Bogues.
There we go.
Very quick. But yes. This game.
Let's retrace the betting, right?
Please.
I mean, when conference title games a couple of weeks ago, and as soon as the Chiefs game ended, opened the Chiefs as 1-point favorites here at South Point, and for the first few days, better part of that first week, pretty steady stream of Chiefs money, right? Went to 1.5. Went to 2. And then as we got into this week, we started to see Eagles money. They took the 2. They took the 1.5. We sit at 1 right now, and we opened at 50. And under money has come in sitting at 48.5. Now, I truly believe that as the public gets more involved, and again, we'll still see. Today is Saturday, so we've still got probably 80% of the money to come in, right? Because people will bet it today. They'll tie it into the cross sport props that we put up for this weekend, and of course all the other props. So 80% of the money is going to come in here in the next day and a half. But we started to see even Chiefs when we were leaving yesterday. Chris made a comment that we may go to pick. There's picks out there, and but as we were leaving the studio yesterday, there was a pretty good play on the Chiefs, about 50,000 on the Chiefs. So again, when you look at it overall, we're seeing action on both teams, but there seems to be more interest and more tickets on the Eagles, and it would not shock us if in fact this game flip favorites. I mean, it's basically a pick'em game, so I don't think that's really going to be too much of a shock.
The longer people have to really dive into this game, right, Vinny, going X's and O's and going position by position, really the Eagles are a little bit of a better team power rated. Yeah. I would say. Of course, there's Patrick Mahomes on the other side, and then you have to determine how much the quarterback position really means. So I understand why it did open up 1.5 with them and giving them that respect and going for the three-peat here. But I just think the more time, and I've heard it from a lot of very respected people out there too, that really roster by roster, the Eagles are about a 1.
Yeah, Alex, you look at if you go by the skill positions, right? Yeah, certainly. I think the Chiefs at the quarterback position have the advantage. Running back, you have to give it to the Eagles. Receiving core, I think you can make a case maybe for both sides. It's real close. Maybe a slight edge to the Eagles, although the Eagles did run more than any other team. And in fact, I think the Eagles are the only team in the NFL this year that rushed more than they passed. Chiefs, though, get rid of the ball very quickly and spread it around. So from a receiving core standpoint, I think you probably you could tight end, edge to Kelsey, over Goddard, but overall, it's pretty close, right? Coordinators, both coaching. Head coach, I think you give the edge to Andy Reid, but coordinator-wise, it's pretty balanced, right? You can make that's a great chess match on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So special teams, well, kickers, Butker hurt. Eagles have been inconsistent in that regard, and then defense, look, we focus so much on offense, especially with the Chiefs. But their defense has really carried them. And when you look at how many one-score games they've won this year, which is the majority of their games, and I think 2 of them were won by 9. So when you look at that, I want to say it's about 14 or 15 games that have been decided in very close fashion. Eagles' defense is outstanding. So probably the deeper team is the Eagles, and I think that's speaks to your point.
We brought this up at the end of the show yesterday also. Kansas City, better quarterback, better head coach. Butker's health is a question. I still think they have the advantage at kicker. Spagnuolo over Kellen Moore. Good. When the Eagles have the ball. Fangio's as darn close as you can get. I know it's Matt Nagy technically, but let's be real. It's Andy Reid.
It's Andy Reid. Yeah.
So it's tight.
Good chess match, right?
It's the two best defensive coordinators in the NFL in this game.
No doubt.
Coaching wise, even though people love getting on Sirianni, these are 2 very well coached teams. The Eagles wouldn't be in two Super Bowls in 3 years if they weren't.
I'll give Sirianni credit for something this year. I mean, look, when after he started yelling at fans and fighting with his with his players, I think I'll give him credit for giving more autonomy to his coordinators and letting them do their job. Because look, here's the thing: in sports, right? There's always the head coach, but the best head coaches are the head coaches that give some autonomy and let assistants and coordinators do their thing and because they have the relationship with the players. They've got to execute specifics, right? And credit the head coaches that allow for that, because it makes them better and it makes the team better. And I think Reed does that.
Vinny, since we talked yesterday, any props? Have any of those gone through?
We went through, and again, folks,
we went through about a quarter of them.
And I know
yesterday.
you and Alex are going to go through them more, but the props. Here's the thing about this game. So continued play on the props. Two things about this game being basically a pick'em game, I think, are going to we're going to see. First, I think the props, which typically, depending on the property, can accommodate for as much as 60 to 70% of the overall Super Bowl handle. And again, last year, $185 million. Of course, the game was here, but if you go back 2 years ago with these two teams, $153 million bet statewide. This year, I think because it's so close, that the props may accommodate for 65 to 70, even more, depending on the property, right? The other thing I think that's going to really see a lot of play is the in-game, because when you look at, again, basically a pick'em game, I think folks are going to refer to how close and how back and forth the game was a couple of years ago, even though I know the key players are there, but there's still about 13 to 15 players on both sides that are not there. So there's some variables in that regard. But when you've got these two teams, high profile, who got a lot of support all year, Chiefs mainly on the money line, not on the point spread, Eagles both ways, I could see where, especially if it's close, and they're alternating scores, you'll see a significant amount more than normal, or more than we've seen for the end game.
It's interesting, Vinny, because Chris brought this up a little bit yesterday, and after honestly seeing a few tweets yesterday, it feels like the city's a little bit slower than usual for a Super Bowl week. Now, on property here, it was not slow by any means, because it's always jammed here on a Friday.
Yeah.
Just driving into the parking lot this morning, it was more crowded than usual for 8 a.m. on a Saturday. That's not a technically no football games. Usually college football Saturday is a little bit different, but this kind of feels like the wave is going to really be people coming in these less than 48 hours that really come in, and usually the majority action does come on this final weekend, but it feels like even more so than usual this year.
I think there's a key factor for that, and it's an unfortunate factor. You know, our number one drive-in market is Southern California, and of course we know what happened there a month ago, right? And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the folks who were impacted first by the fires, and then the subsequent, the rain that came in and some mudslides and things like that. So that's what's happened to those folks is far more important than what we do. If we can provide a getaway, a distraction, then great. But I think that's a significant factor. You have to remember that Las Vegas is really a bigger destination. We have more folks here typically on Super Bowl weekend than the host city. And that's not a knock on any host city. New Orleans, great city, right? Just like Las Vegas, they don't sleep there either. So, I think, but because of everything else that we have here, right? And it starts with the room inventory. I have 175,000 hotel rooms here, and the 24-hour activity and things like that. Here at South Point, we're going to certainly benefit for a couple of things, right? First of all, you mentioned the parking lot. It's free parking. Okay. There's no charge for any of our parties. So I think our pricing around the property from the gaming and non-gaming side is very fair. And we also have a very strong local market participation as well as visitors. So we and we know that, and we try to be consistent and fair with that. So tomorrow, we'll have about 7,000 folks throughout the property at various free parties watching and the game and betting on the game. So I think you put all those factors together, and it ties everything into what we're speaking about.
That's what is so great. I love it that it's not just here at the sports book. There's the showroom. There's upstairs.
Yes.
There's so many different places that you can come watch the game here.
With wagering, Alex,
wagering.
when you go to the race book, which we have the only separate race book here at South Point with an overflow area, we know that all the sporting events, right, all the games tomorrow are adjusted earlier. Well, so are the racetracks. They know that as well, and so everything will be done earlier. And we'll have, of course, all 12 windows open here in the book. We've got the 6 kiosks, but there'll be kiosks in the racebook. There'll be racebook windows. We'll have a satellite sports book up in the convention area for the parties, both the VIP as well as the general public party. So you'll be able to bet and get down right up until kickoff tomorrow. And during the game for the in-game.
And at halftime. Don't forget.
Well, naturally.
Yes. you only have a 40-minute halftime. You got plenty of time to bet
extra
at halftime.
Extra long halftime.
Extra long halftime.
Yeah, I don't really listen to the concert. It's kind of in the background. I just watch. So halftime wagering is always great.
Throughout the show here, Alex and I will be giving away some of our props that we bet. We will be going full breakdown tomorrow. We'll be here for at least an hour, probably longer tomorrow. I know you'll stop in.
No, I'm taking tomorrow off.
Oh, okay. Chris will stop in. But Vinny, before we let you go, college hoops today, there are 154 D1 versus D1 games.
Yes.
That is over 300 schools in action today.
Right.
It'll be a fun one here for
154 games, 154 first halves, 154 half times. There you go. How's that? Just for college hoops.
It's all right. It's all right. It's enough.
Nice selection and some good games. And
Very good.
folks are firing up right now. And there's some good games starting at 9 o'clock too. I mean, you look at the second game on the rotation, right? Tennessee and Oklahoma. Oklahoma, a bit of a surprise this year, and hosting Tennessee today. So, Michigan State's played very well. Really, when you look at it for the last month, Kentucky trying to get back on track at home against South Carolina. Of course, Kentucky needs to get healthy in the backcourt. So we'll see how that plays out, particularly with Chris at their point guard.
Vinny, pleasure. Pleasure as always. Get back to work. We got them early today here on the show, right here on Sports by the Book. All right, we'll take a 1-minute break, show. When we get back, we'll look at the 9 a.m. Pacific college hoops games. I gotta give Alex this. This is important for you. The marker for the whiteboard. We'll be given some. It's blank right now. It won't be blank for much longer. We'll give some props out as we go through the show. We'll intertwine it with college hoops and more when we get back. Sports by the Book.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in. Excuse me. It's Sports by the Book. Wow. Well, that's throw the flag on myself for a near full start. Jeff Parles, Alex White. We're here as we always are here on a Saturday morning. Super Bowl, of course, tomorrow. We'll be giving out props as we go through here on the show. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. Our full menu of what we bet for the game will be, we'll sprinkle it in through an hour plus tomorrow. Knowing who may pop in tomorrow, we probably will go 90 minutes. Yeah. Get everything ready. Frank will be on property. Be on the lookout for some content from here at the South Point tomorrow. So a lot going on a Super Bowl Sunday, and of course the big game party upstairs.
Yep.
Nearly 3,000 people can fit upstairs. Good amount of people can fit behind me. Good amount of people can fit in the showroom. As Chris has said, the best TV in Las Vegas, and then Grandview also. Hey, just everywhere here on property. Expecting about 7,000 here on property to watch the big game tomorrow. All right, let's go to college hoops. Let's start in Soonerland, where we start with Sean's squad, Oklahoma and Tennessee. So this is a number-dependent game right now. There's a 5.5 behind us here at the South Point. Tennessee, earlier in the week, played a very competitive game against Missouri. Mizzou had a chance to win that game. Tennessee won, but did not cover. Tennessee shot above their heads from 3 in the second half of that game. Now they go on the road to Oklahoma, who got slaughtered by Auburn earlier in the week, which, all right, whatever, on the road at Auburn. They can't really get on them for that. But I will say this, for a league that is full of high-end teams, Oklahoma does not have that wow win yet in conference. Now, in non-con, they won Atlantis, they beat Arizona, they beat Louisville, good wins there. But they're still missing that wow win in conference. Still have plenty of opportunities down the stretch, but this feels like an opportunity here that seems pretty good, all things considered. I didn't bet this game. I thought the numbers were about right. I thought Tennessee should be between 4.5 and where they're right now at 5.5. Did you land on anything in this game, Alex?
Nothing for me in this one. I mean, you bring up a good point. Oklahoma is looking for that big win in conference. I just worry because Tennessee, I mean, after losing 2 in a row, they finally turned things back around, 2 wins at home. So I think they're going to still be trying to play their best basketball here. Of course, they are the better defense, top 3 in the country right now, number 1 in KenPom. And then Oklahoma is a better offensive team by the numbers, but I just worry about the Wolves really shutting them down defensively. So I think the 5.5 is right, and lean a little bit to the under. Kind of depends, though, if you do think Oklahoma will be able to get their offense going, or if you think Tennessee's defense will shut them down.
Going to the next one in East Lansing, Michigan State returns home after getting swept in Los Angeles by USC and UCLA. They take on an Oregon team that is floundering right now. Oregon has lost 5 out of 6. Their only win is against Washington, who's one of the weaker, if not the weakest team in the Big Ten. Right now, it's for Oregon's sake, it's a good thing they won that tournament here in Las Vegas with wins over Alabama and A&M, or else this may look a little bit different right now for their NCAA tournament prospects. This is one of those, Alex, where I really looked at the opening number and was like, all right, well, kind of want to take the points with the Ducks, but it was such a good spot for Michigan State. I was like, all right, we're going to see where this market goes. From 7.5 to 9.5, I still don't know if I want Oregon, so I went with the over in this game. I think the pace will be there to play this game in the mid-70s, Michigan State into the 80s here. Really have just not liked how Oregon has played over the last few weeks, but I like over 147 here in this game.
And my thought exactly yesterday, I do think that Michigan should be about a 10-point favorite here at home. Tom Izzo is one of the best coaches in the country, and I do think this will be a get-right spot for Michigan State. Missed the best of the number. I'm not going to jump in here now, but if there's an in-game opportunity and I can get a better number, I would definitely look at Michigan State in this one.
Let's go to the Big East next, and the whiteboard will be activated here for this one. Seton Hall in Georgetown, and I'll just tell you, Alex, the market has just come flying in on this game late. They bet it down 2 points in the last 5 minutes, from 132.5 to 130.5 on that total. 11 on Georgetown in this game. That's toggled all over the map. Was as low as 10, as high as this 11 here. Seton Hall's offense is brutal, just absolutely brutal. They're honestly brutal just altogether this year. Their defense is mediocre. Their offense is 272nd in Ken Palm. Good recipe for this game probably to go under because Georgetown known for their defense as opposed to their offense.
That's right. I did take this game under. It did make my whiteboard. I guess I have to go with 130.5, and that is actually the number I got right before the show, too. So I'm still okay here. I made this game 125, so it's a nice 5-point difference. Both teams are much better defensively than they are offensively, and the pace is going to be there nice and slow. Seton Hall really slowing it down, 326 pace in the country. So under in this one for me.
South Carolina and Kentucky up next. So Wildcats, again, still just not 100% healthy. This has been the case now for the better portion of a few weeks for them, even with that win at Tennessee. Remember, they didn't have Butler, didn't have Krisa. They were not 100%. Butler is warming up. It looks like he is going to be fully ingrained in this game here for Kentucky, which is big-time news for them, which is the main reason I did not bother here. On the overnights, I thought, all right, take 11 with South Carolina, even though it's a good spot for Kentucky. It's a lot of points. Now I'm good. We'll pass. Now with Butler being in this game for Kentucky, a big deal for the Cats getting their big-time leader back.
It is interesting, though. When I was looking at Butler, now Jackson Robinson did pop up on the injury report as questionable as well, but I do think they will both play, but that's why I stayed off of it as well. I was looking at the over here in this one, looking at Kentucky, of course, with the second best offense right now in the country and really struggling on the defensive side. What can South Carolina do, though? I mean, they are better on the defensive side than they are the offensive side. Worst offense in the SEC, 12th defense in the SEC. Still looking for their first conference win in this one. So nothing for me. Lean to the over.
Let's go to a game, one more game at 9 a.m. And this one, Alex, I'll just ask you here because Iowa State has lost 3 straight games. Really, that Caleb Love 65-footer really just everything changed on a dime right then and there. The perplexing loss is a gigantic favorite last week. I mean, they were 17-point favorites, lost by 19 at home to K-State. And then they got thoroughly handled at the Fog by Kansas, who had not been playing well on Monday. And now they get TCU, who is, again, a team that has had their struggles so far this year. They have won. TCU has won 2 in a row, though. They beat Colorado and West Virginia. This is 16.5, which is a huge number here, Alex. Total is getting bet down as we speak, down to 135.5 on this game. I wonder here, first half on Iowa State laying 9 or 8.5 is not a bad idea here. Get yourself right. 16.5 is a huge number for a conference game. Maybe you win the first half by double digits, and then you can figure it out from there. But that would be the only thing I'd look at, a first half play here.
That's the exact way I was leaning to in this one. I do think Otzelberger will have his team prepared, and this should be a good bounce back spot for them. I mean, they are going up against a team that is 180th in offense efficiency. Iowa State, they've got to figure it out. I mean, they were projected to have a 1 seed, and now they are no longer in that spot. So bounce back spot, I would only look at the first, especially. I mean, I do think they should be about 14.5 points at home here against TCU, but looking at that low total, I would not be laying 16.5 in this conference game.
Going through the 10 a.m. slates here, Michigan and Indiana. Now, this is a fun one here. Of course, Dusty May, who a lot of people thought should have been the next coach at Indiana. They could have got rid of Woodson after last year, make sure May comes home, an IU grad. Was there when Bob Knight was there. Instead, May's in Michigan. Michigan is a legitimate NCAA tournament team. Indiana's going to be doing the coaching search all over again after this year. Woodson's done after the year, going to step down. This is one of these weirdo spots, though, Alex, right? Where you get the news, all right, Woodson's out at the end of the year. So this can go multiple ways here. The market is taking this from 2.5 to 3.5. 153 now on the total. This could go Indiana, you get inspired effort and they win this thing outright, or Indiana no-shows like especially they did on Monday where they were down 20-4 before you could even blink against Wisconsin earlier in the week. I think I'd lean towards the no-show here from Indiana, but this is a classic stay off and look at in game and see what we're getting out of both of these teams, because this could be one of those where you lay lumber in game with Michigan because Indiana doesn't want to be there, or this game's even and it's like, all right, well, we'll take a plus price on Indiana and see if it gets there in game.
I agree. I mean, I think I would lean to taking the points here. I think Michigan is probably about 1.5 point favorite here in Indiana. But, I mean, the Hoosiers have lost 6 of their last 7. They've lost 4 in a row coming into this one. Michigan's feeling good, won 3 in a row, but could take them a little bit lightly here. So if you made me play it, I would take the points. But I'm with you. I think in-game is probably the better way to play this game.
Moving to Nashville next, and this one just moved, and now it's for everyone at home. I already took this already at 3 with Vanderbilt. Now with the hook, tread carefully. There is still a 3 in the major national book that you can get. I don't think this Texas team is really all that good. They got blasted earlier in the week at home against Arkansas. Their KenPom numbers have them as an NCAA tournament quality team. I know it's a little bit simplistic, but they never pass the eye test whenever I see them play. I don't think they're particularly good. Vandy, on the other side, metrically speaking, Texas slightly better, but bizarro home court advantage, as we know. That is a weird place to play at Memorial Gymnasium. They've already taken out both Kentucky and Tennessee at home. Their only conference loss was the first conference game at home against Mississippi State. I'm actually a little bit surprised this didn't come a little higher, but now that we missed the best of it, tread carefully. I liked it at 3. If it comes back, you can lay the 3 with Vandy here.
I'm higher on Texas than you are. I do think that I'm shocked that it is this high for Vandy. I was expecting more like 1 here for them at home. So it's a lean to taking the points with the Longhorns, but I'm going to stay off of it. Like you said, Texas coming off of that loss to Arkansas, even though it could be Arkansas starting to figure some things out. We have seen them piece together 2 in a row now, but yeah, it would be a lean to the points for me.
Look, Arkansas looks a lot closer to the team that we thought they were going to be going into the year. Finally, 3 out of 4, maybe that win in Rupp really changes the tune. We'll get to a huge one with them later. They got a big crack at Alabama later in the day here today. Here's one where we both have action, and it's not two-way here, which is a nice sign for me, I would say. Iowa and Wisconsin, I'm a little surprised Fran McCaffrey has not been run out of Iowa City at this point. Really, they've been there 15 years, has really accomplished nothing, all things considered. Up to 6. I thought this was good at 5.5 on the home team. Very happily take 6 with Iowa here, especially with Wisconsin coming off a performance where, I mean, they were dynamo earlier in the week against Indiana. Now on the road, a little bit of a tricky spot. Now, the last time these teams played, Wisconsin put 116 on Iowa. Yep. 85 points for Iowa in that game. So, Alex, this might also be an overplay. The only thing that concerns me there, a little bit of overcorrection potentially from how insanely over that first game went. But knowing how Iowa wants to play, knowing how also Wisconsin is more willing to run than usual this year, this could also be a good over as well. I
am on the over. I do expect to get some points in this one. Like you said, Wisconsin will run with them. And you got to be careful with Iowa. I'm looking for their trends, but their trends are about even at home because the market has caught up to them and the over. So they have been falling under. I think this is a great spot to jump back in on an Iowa over. I mean, you mentioned it. They are 22nd offensively, 165 defensively, gave up 116 points to Wisconsin the first time. And then on the flip side, Wisconsin's 8th offensively, 44th defensive. 2 really good offenses going head to head. I think we'll get over this 162.5.
How about another over for everyone here? And we'll go to Newark, Delaware. Yes, the Blue Hens and the tribe of William and Mary. And Alex, we are simpatico on this game. 2 teams that play absurdly fast, 2 teams that don't play good defense. William and Mary, who is super efficient offensively. We're even getting a better number than we thought we were going to get. We have 167 now on this game, down from some of the openers. But Alex, Look, if this game goes under, credit to the defenses, or these teams just don't shoot as well. But the way the game should be paced and the way these offenses are efficient against bad defenses, there's no reason to think this game will not be played in the high 80s here, Alex.
I agree. William and Mary, 20th quickest in the country, and we know Delaware will run with them. They have lost 5 in a row, so they've really got to turn some things around. And they also won both games last year against William and Mary, which leads me a little bit to that side. But I think that they will both be ready for this one. And yeah, I expect a very high-scoring game between these two.
Here's a good one in the Big East next in Middle America in Omaha. And this number has really moved in the last few minutes, which I'm going to have to double-check the Marquette injury report yet again. Alex, we're up to 4 now in this game on Creighton. Hosting Marquette. This was 2.5 on the opener, and I was like, you know what? Marquette gets beat earlier in the week at St. John's. Johnny's, by the way, nice win last night. Big hole early. Could have very easily been down 20 points, and they came out of it and really dominated the rest of that game after the first 10 minutes. I was looking potentially early on Marquette, but now with this, we just totally steam the other way. A little bit concerned here. I know you're on Creighton on that opening number, though.
I do like Creighton in this game. Marquette did win the first one. They were at home, 79-71. These two tend to win one split, each winning on their own home court. So I like Creighton in this spot. And they've won 8 in a row. Their last loss is to this very team. So I think they'll be up and ready for this one. At 4, I think 4 is the right number. So I wouldn't jump in now. I'd wait and see if you can get a better number in game, or maybe even take them on the money line with the partner.
I'm going to go to the Ivy League real quick here, Alex. Yale and Cornell, the two best teams, at least in my opinion, in the league. I know there's an argument for Princeton, but there's just a different explosiveness to Cornell's offense that I don't think is there with the Princeton thing. Now, there is a huge concern with Cornell's defense in this game against Yale, who is, I don't think there's much of an argument. Yale's the best team in the Ivy, and if they get through the Ivy Madness, they'll be a very difficult out for the second consecutive year. Remember, they upset Auburn in round 1 a year ago. With that said, on the road in Ithaca, I do like taking the points with Cornell here. Now, if this game was at Yale in New Haven, this would be a 100% stay away. Probably would even look to lay points with Yale. But in your own building for Cornell, where Cornell, did lose at home to Brown. That was a shocker. That is their only conference loss of the year. And they are historically a much better team in Ithaca in conference play than they are away from it. So we'll take 4 at Cornell. Don't mind the sprinkle on the money line either. This is also probably a reasonable over as well at 159.5, knowing that Cornell will want to play this game fast, and Yale is more than willing to run with a high-end offense. Yeah,
I would lean to the over here with these two. I actually did not make a number for this game, though, so I do not have an opinion on the side.
Sunflower Showdown, Kansas and Kansas State. So Kansas won earlier in the year in this matchup at the Fog. K-State did cover that game. They were really in cover range most of the way. They were getting 15, 16, 10-point game in that one. K-State playing way better basketball, though. They were the monster disappointment. They were 7-11. They've racked off 4 in a row. Now, 3 of the wins are, all right, teams that, all right, Arizona State, not overly talented. Oklahoma State, the worst team in the Big 12. West Virginia, their offense is questionable, even with high-end defense. But then you have that monster win over Iowa State, where they ran Iowa State out of Hilton. Still one of the more perplexing results we'll see all year in college hoops. Octagon of Doom is very difficult to play at, but I think that what happened on Monday was gigantic for Kansas, where they had 2 games in the previous week where they never lose those type of games with Bill Self, in the Bill Self era. Blowing a 6-point lead in 8 seconds in the first overtime against Houston, and then the following week blowing a 21-point lead at Baylor and then end up losing by double digits in that game. I like Kansas here. Now, this is probably going to be a money line dance partner game more so than anything. Don't love laying points in this rivalry. This game in Manhattan is always tight. So I'm going to look for a dance partner here with KU and find a two-teamer to get a small plus price with that minus 170 as one of the legs.
I'm going to be honest. I think that number is just right here for the side and the total. So 3.5 Kansas, I do think they should be favored on the road. I don't mind you taking it on the money line at all. I think that is probably the right side. They are the better team. And you're right. After those two losses and letting those teams come back like that, I think they will be very dialed in for this rivalry here.
Let's go to an AAC matchup here, Alex, that you like, actually, both side and total here. North Texas welcomes Tulane. Well, we know this about North Texas. It doesn't matter that Graham McCaskill moved on to Texas Tech. North Texas still grinds you out. 361st in tempo. Now, this has not been a good week for North Texas. They lost shockingly last weekend at home to UTSA, who's not any good. And then they lost to UAB earlier this week. So back-to-back losses for a North Texas team that started AAC play at 7-1 with a loss to Memphis, which there's no shame in that. Now Tulane comes calling. Tulane has been better in conference play than they were out of conference. They were underwater going into conference play, and now they're 7-3 in AAC play. So a nice turnaround by Ron Hunter's team. 9.5, 125.5. Alex, is this just dog and under correlation here?
A little bit, but there's also some revenge factor in here for Tulane. They lost to North Texas, both regular season and the AAC tournament last year. So I do think that Ron Hunter's had this game circled, and he will be ready for this one. On the flip side, with what you've said about North Texas, they have not been playing their best basketball. I really think we're going to see their best defense in this one. They are 33rd right now in defense efficiency on Ken Palm, and I think that is deserved. We know they do like to grind it out. 361 in pace ranking. So I like the under a lot, but I like Tulane getting 9.5 even more.
Let's go to Columbia, Missouri. This might be the game of the day, actually. Mizzou and A&M, a really good matchup. Yeah, we expect both of these teams to be in the top 15 in the AP poll coming in. And quite frankly, they are both top 20 teams right now in the country for sure. Mizzou had a halftime lead in Knoxville earlier in the week, couldn't hold on, lost by 4. A&M, it's interesting with A&M right now, Alex, where they have the loss they lose to Texas last weekend or 2 weekends ago, where they blew a 20-point lead in that game. That's really the reason why I think the Horns will end up sneaking in the back door to the NCAA tournament. They handled Oklahoma. They handled South Carolina. Now they go on the road, big up in competition from these last two. I feel like this game is going to be one-score game. So now that we're 4.5, it would only be a take of the Aggies here. I do think this is one of those. I think Mizzou wins but doesn't cover a small number. I don't normally love doing this in college hoops, but it would be a lean to taking the points with the Aggies here. I
still think Missouri's a little bit underrated, and it's funny because when I'm going through revenge and looking at last year, we know Mizzou has revenge on everybody in the SEC. So I already knew that Texas A&M didn't have any revenge in this one, but man, this turnaround has just been incredible, and they've been playing up to the level of these high competition. So I actually have them 5.5 here at home. Okay. I'm just going to stay away from this one, but it would be a money line play for me with Mizzou at home.
Alex, I'm going to a revenge angle next where the market disagrees with me. We're going with your alma mater. See, we'll do alma mater back-to-back here. UNLV goes up to Laramie. Now, yes, I understand the elevation always can play a little bit of a role here. I get it. But UNLV, this 5-game slide they're on, started with a shocking home loss to this Wyoming team here in Las Vegas. I'm going full revenge angle here, Alex. This might be the dance partner for Kansas, actually. Money line with UNLV -2. I think they're both good here. I like the Rebels to break the losing streak, get it done, win on the road at Wyoming here today.
I like it, and I'm glad that you did add that in because I do have UNLV 2.5 on the road here at Wyoming. I'd add another 2.5 for that revenge factor to get you up to 5. So whether you want to lay the points or the money line, I do think that is the correct side.
Going to Los Angeles next, Penn State, UCLA. Bruins with a big win earlier in the week against Michigan State. Bruins, ever since Mick Cronin started yelling at everybody, Bruins have won 6 straight games. Really have fortified things here. Now they get a Penn State team that's going the wrong direction. Now, this is a weird one for me because, Alex, initially the under popped for me on this game, but I don't know if I agree with my own numbers on this game. The total hasn't moved, so I guess it was a correct number from everyone that was put out here. I see 10.5 with Penn State and be like, man, I kind of want to take that, but I just don't like the way Penn State has been playing, especially away from home and earlier, including at home, where they lose at home against Minnesota earlier in the week, which is a loss you just can't take at home in the Big Ten.
And how UCLA has been playing. I mean, you mentioned it. I don't even know if he was really yelling at everyone, which he was, but he was really calling his team out, and they've really stepped up to the occasion ever since. So I like how this UCLA team has been playing. They are 8-4 against the spread at home and 12-1 straight up. So nothing for me. I think that number is just right. I do lean to the under as well. I have it 138, 2.5 point difference there. So that would be the way I'd play, especially if you think that the home team is going to control the pace, because we do know that UCLA will play a lot slower where Penn State wants to run. So lean to the under and the home team, but not laying that many points.
These SEC matchups that we get here today, Alex, not this one, but the one we're going to talk about now, another gigantic one, and it probably is the game of the day. Auburn welcomes Florida. So Walter Clayton did not play earlier this week for the Gators. He is going to be available to play today, which is a huge deal in this one. 9.5 behind us. There's even a 10. The market hasn't moved either on the side or total here. 157.5, 9.5. Alex, you like the total in this one?
I do like the total in this one, and I lean to Florida. Florida does have some revenge. They lost to Auburn in the conference tournament last year, so it seems like a lot of points there for these two. But looking at the total here in this, let me see what I made it. I've got it 166, so it is a good overplay. Just wanted to make sure all the players were playing before I added it to the board here, but really, I mean, pace, you're going to get it from both sides. Right now, Florida 99th quickest. They're the 6th best offense, and then Auburn number 1 offense right now in the country. 123rd pace, they can definitely run with the best of them. So I think over 157.5 is the best play. Lean to taking the points here with the Gators to keep it within 9.5.
This feels like a ton of points, right? It really does. But then you look at Auburn, and Auburn is just smacking everybody around. We know this. Auburn is number 1 without a doubt to me in the country. Their only loss was to Duke at Cameron Indoor, which, all right, fine. Nothing wrong with that. In conference play at home, real quick, here's what they've done at home in conference play. They beat Missouri by 16. They beat Mississippi State by 22. They beat Tennessee by 2. Remember, that was Broom's first game back, and it was played at Tennessee's pace.
Yep.
And they beat Oklahoma by 28. So you're getting the juggernaut more times than not at home in conference play. Now, Florida's, I think, is comparable to Missouri in the way of just what the opponent is at this point. But, boy, that's a lot of points to be getting with a team that I think is a legit top 12 team in the country against, even though it's, again, Auburn, power rated number 1, without a shadow of a doubt for everyone. But I think your over is the better play here, personally, especially if Florida is able to play this pace fast, which I think they will be. Auburn more than willing to run. All right, Colorado and Houston here. Colorado at home. Alex, 14 on the road is a lot of points in conference play, but Colorado has not been up to the task in the Big 12. I like this game under. The market did too, taking the hook off from 128.5 to 128. I don't know how Colorado's going to score in this game. That's really what it comes down to more so than anything, Alex.
And we say it every week, but I mean, Houston's defense is suffocating, and I can see that in this one, especially Colorado's better on the defensive side than the offensive side, so they may be able to slow down Houston's offense, but you're right, I do think they are going to struggle to score. I made it 126. It wasn't a big enough difference for me to jump in, but I don't mind it under at all.
Let's go to Duke Clemson. This is probably going to be the last realistic chance for a potential Duke loss in conference play other than that North Carolina game, even though North Carolina has really just done any good, as we know. Mm-hmm. So this just moved to 133.5 on the total behind us. It's 133.5 across the board. I understand the lower total for a Duke game here because Clemson is going to want to grind this thing. They play at a bottom 20 tempo in the country, but Clemson's coming off of the triple overtime loss at home to Georgia Tech. I don't know how much, even with Duke here, how much you have left in the tank after a game like that, especially when that was a classic look-ahead spot and it played out the way it was. I actually like the total more than I like the game. I actually like this game over. I think this game will be played, even though Duke is a slower tempo team, I think this will be a game where Duke will actually be efficient. I think this game is played in the mid to high 60s, which is enough. I just need 70 to 65, Alex. That's all I need. That would be a Clemson cover either way. So slightly into the over, even though the numbers do not back that up right now.
Well, it is tough. And if you look at both of their pace, really on the defensive side, they both play really good transition defense. They're going to force each other into that shot clock. So that's the only thing that makes me nervous about getting all those points in there. But I'm going to stay away from this one. If anything, I was looking to take the points, but I do have Duke 7 here on the road. But you knew that was a classic look ahead for Clemson, and they were preparing for this game. So even though it's tough going into overtime like that, I think you're going to get the best effort out of them.
But not a good one. Not a good one for Clemson. Can't be taking that. Now, granted, Clemson's one of the few ACC teams that's clearly going along with Duke to the tournament. But, boy, not a good look, again, for an ACC. That just I know they got 2 teams in the college football playoff, but, boy, not a good year for that conference.
No.
In the money making sports on the men's side. All right, Mississippi State and Georgia. Dogs got a much needed win earlier in the week at home against LSU. Mississippi State been much better at home than they've been on the road, even with that beatdown they took at the hands of Missouri a week ago. Alex, you like the total? I like the side here. I like the home team in this one. I just think Georgia home court matters in this game, and the market moved this from 1 to 1.5. I probably would just rather look for a minus 120 money line and lay the extra 10 cents and not mess around with that 1.5.
I've got it a 1.5 difference here too. I have Georgia 3 at home, adding in that home court. But I do like the under in this one, and have quite a big difference. 131 is my total in this one because of the way Georgia likes to play, and they are going to slow it down as much as they can. And they're also around the 18th best ranked defense in the country. So I think you're okay going under in this one. Trying to see if there's any trends. I do have Mississippi State with a little bit of a trend to the under on the road, just 4-2 to the under. So under 142 in this one. I do not think it made my round robin, but it should make my board because that's a big difference for me.
Boy, this is, again, these SEC games, especially when they're all good and they're all pretty even, it's pretty hard. But we found some angles, at least on this game, for sure. All right, let's keep it in the SEC. Let's go to Fayetteville, Alex. Arkansas and Alabama. We both have the same thought process on this one. Alabama's 4.5. The total's gone up. I think we're in agreement here on this total, even with it going up to 164.5. I think we're good. Just Alabama's going to play this game fast. I don't fully trust Arkansas's defense. Expect another Alabama game played in the high 80s yet again, like we've been seeing all year, Alex.
Yeah, especially on the road, right? They really try and just outrun their opponent. And I do like the way Arkansas is playing, and I think we're going to see them take a lot of shots in this one to try to keep up with Alabama. So, yeah, I made this 169, so I like the over between these two.
Where do you have Bama in your power? I know you took a future on them last week. Where do you have them in your power rankings? Are they top 5, top 3 yet?
Top 5 for sure.
Because I have them 2.
I love that.
I have Auburn 1, Bama 2, as we all expected. Alabama, the college basketball capital of planet Earth right now. All right. I want to hit 2 more before we give some we take a quick break, and then we go into some props here today. Gonzaga Pacific. Yeah, I know. What a big one here. So Gonzaga's a huge favorite. We're not looking there. You and I have the same wavelength here on this one also. I like the total over because let's think about this here. Now that we're at 150, the magic number here is 92 points for Gonzaga to me. That's the magic number. They get to 92, we should be able to get there because Pacific should be able to get to 60. So
yep.
If we can get Pacific to 60, that's step 1. I think we'll get there. If we get Gonzaga into the low 90s, we should be good here. And there's no reason to think Gonzaga against a bottom feeder in the WCC shouldn't be able to put up close to 100 here.
Made this 157, so there's definitely enough of a difference here to jump in on the over. You could even get a little bit more from Pacific because Gonzaga is giving up 69 points on average per team. I know Pacific struggles. They only average 67 per game, but maybe a little bit in between there. Gonzaga 87 to 90 points. But yeah, I definitely like this over, especially with the pace that we are seeing from the Zags.
We get a piece of revenge in this last game. Texas Tech, Arizona in Tucson tonight. The only loss so far this year in conference play for the Arizona Wildcats came against this very Lubbock-based Texas Tech team. Look, Texas Tech, I still think is underrated, which is kind of crazy.
If you look at almost every SEC team and they have that 1 or 2 big wins, it's usually to Texas Tech this year.
Yeah, so Texas Tech in Big 12 plays 9-2. Their only losses, they have the random loss against Central Florida to begin conference play, and then they lost that ridiculous overtime game against Iowa State, which Texas Tech probably should have won. That was a game where Iowa State made a bucket at the end of regulation at the buzzer after being down 4 late in the game, found a way in overtime. Since then, they've won 7 in a row, Texas Tech has. You know, I really want to bet Arizona in this game. It kind of feels like that Iowa State game where I think the number's a little bit out of whack, that it feels like a bet. But Arizona has played some great basketball. Arizona, the only loss in conference plays to Texas Tech. They've won 5 in a row since that loss. Credit to Tommy Lloyd to at least kind of stabilize the ship where it looked like this team could miss the NCAA tournament with that horrible start in non-con. Would only be Arizona for me in this one, Alex.
Nothing for me in this one. Lean to the over here. I do think Arizona will control the pace and have them play more up tempo, even though Texas Tech is the opposite. They want to slow it down and really grind it out, but they have the 10th best offense right now. So a little bit lean to the over, but yeah, you're right. Some revenge there for Arizona, and they're going to want to get this win and be ready. But I think the number's right here at 3.
All right, Sean, let's take a 1 minute. I know it's deep into the hour, but let's take a 1 minute. Let's get everything set up. Alex and I are going to be giving away a few props here on the big game. To get you ready, you whet your appetite for tomorrow, where we're going to be giving away our whole cards for the NFL, the biggest day of the year in the NFL. But a few props for the road when we get back after 1 minute.
Get ready to laugh with Punchlines with Frank Nicotero. Join Frank and his team of featured guests for your daily dose of comedy.
Reno, the Pittsburgh of the West.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Sports.
F for Falcons, Alex. We were talking Derek Carr for MVP after 2 games. Okay, me. I was.
And the funniest social media posts.
People want to show off their food. Boom. Wiener on a guy's shoulder. It's the dark tones. We bleed blue.
It's your one-stop spot for great laughs and a good time. Find us on YouTube at Punchlines FN. And join the chat live weekdays at noon Pacific for the ultimate blend of jokes, sports, and viral fun.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza. We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
We're back in at Sports by the Book. We're going to give away a few props we are looking at. Now, we have a new graphic. These are going to be listed under favorite propositional bets, but we're going to put a disclosure here today. Will these end up in our lists? Very possible. These are what we're looking at right now. We have, at least for me, I've only played one of these so far, but I decided to throw one of them into the grouping. So you can take it from mine, Sean. The Noah Gray flavor here. Now, Alex, I talked to Iron Eagle last week, and I asked him who was the random chief that he would think would be the one that could pop up. He said Samaje Perine, who also appears on this list. Matt Hamilton, I asked the same question. He said Noah Gray. So I'm following both of the guests we had a week ago. Now, Noah Gray's anytime touchdown is 6-1. Shop around, you might be able to do a little better. Small little play on that. Pizza money, don't go full unit. Go maybe a third of a unit. So you still end up pretty good if it happens to hit. I do like the over 12.5 receiving yards for Noah Gray as well. Again, I think there's going to be, this goes one of two ways for Kansas City's offense. Either this is a massive Kelsey and Worthy day, and then the other guys really just peter out and maybe just one big play, but it doesn't really impact props. Or it's really the auxiliary guys who do the damage in this game, where Fangio says, you know what, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelsey, you're not beating me. And that could be the way it goes. Perine, over 7.5 receiving yards. I think that's good. We only need one catch for 10 yards on that, and I think that's more than in play with Perine. And then the only Eagle one making the list for the moment right now, Jalen Hurts' first rush attempt under 3.5. The reason I'm doing this, Alex, is I am hopeful that the first rush attempt for Jalen Hurts is a tush push. And if it's a tush push,
very good.
It's not going more than 2 yards. So that's the reason that I like that first rush under 3.5 yards for Jalen Hurts.
I do want to ask you, have you looked at any of the, for either side, mostly the Kansas City Chiefs, and how many players will have a rush attempt or a reception? Is that something you're looking at? We talked about this yesterday a little bit. I don't want the rush attempt because, as Jeff Whitelaw said with us yesterday, like, Samaje Perine's had in a real game has had 2 carries in the last 6 games. So hard to bank on that. Are we getting a rush from a wide receiver that isn't Xavier Worthy? Probably not. Yeah.
We're not getting one from Travis Kelsey. We would think not.
Yeah.
So it's part of the reason I don't really like that on the rushing one at 4.5. Receiving one's interesting though, because you could end up with a game where Mahomes connects with 8 guys. Like it could happen, like DeAndre Hopkins and Pira, all 3 running backs have a catch. Both tight ends have a catch. Yeah. Like there is a scenario where that happens. That would be the one if I'm gonna take an over, I'd rather have that. On the Eagles side, Chris had to move the number on the amount of total rushers, a whole number down. I just don't know where you get the 4th one from, because I know Chris would have loved that if somehow we got 5 rushers for Philadelphia Eagles, and I just don't see that happening. I think it's Gainwell, Hurts, Barkley, and that's that. They just don't run trick plays with their wide receivers for rushes. No, they really don't. And Gainwell made me a little nervous too with the concussion protocol from last week, but I do think he is cleared and good to go, but I still am not jumping in on that one. I don't mind that Noah Gray, because really if you looked at last week and Zach Ertz was the top receiver for the Commanders, I do think that the tight ends will get some touches in this. And that's why I am going with Travis Kelsey over 62.5 yards. And that's dropped down. I think we're getting a pretty good price here. Now that we saw kind of they utilized him different. He couldn't get open against the Bills. Everybody's kind of freaking out, but I think we'll see more of the first game we did against the Texans, and they are going to go to their main guy with Travis Kelsey. I also like the
running backs of the Chiefs splitting carries. So under for Kareem Hunt and over for Isaiah Pacheco, I think with 2 extra weeks to get right. I think they are going to go to him first. And that's one of my long shots that I will talk about tomorrow. But I'm also looking at more of an under grinded out kind of game here. So I do like the field goals over 3.5, especially getting a good plus price. 3 of the 4 divisional games went over 3.5. 4 of the 6 4 of the 6 divisional and this is 4 of the 6 divisional had 4 attempts, and then 3 of the 4 looking at the next 2 games, conference championship and divisional. Maybe that was that went over 3.5. I'll have that better for you tomorrow. But I like 3.5 field goals. I do think that we will see them from these. We saw 4 attempts in the Commanders and the Eagles. We just had a missed one, but it will be indoors, so I like that as well. And then I'm also looking at tackles and assists. I'm going to add some more tonight, but I do like Cooper DeJean, tackles and assists over 4.5. It is minus 140. Since he's been in there at the slot, he's really helped this defense since the bye week. And then that's my long shot. I'm going to take him for an INT at 9-1. Does not have one on the year. The second round pick out of Iowa, but he did have 5 in 2020 for Iowa in 12 games, and he had 3 the next year in 10 games. So taking a shot on him. I do think that they will be targeting guys around him as well, so he'll have some opportunities.
I'm actually going to beat you on a long shot price tomorrow. I'm just telling you that, which look, I get it. But the only concern is always as we've talked about lead up to this game, these quarterbacks don't throw interceptions right now.
No, they do not.
Neither have thrown one since before Thanksgiving. Hurts has thrown 1 since October, the first week of October, which is crazy in its own right. But look, at 9-1, pizza money. Why not?
Pizza money.
Why not? I'll tell you, we'll get the Grand Calcaterra flavors tomorrow from me. I don't know why. It's always so weird. Like, you don't think of any of these guys during the regular seasons. Like Super Bowl, Calcaterra, Will Shipley last week. Like, crazy. But those are some props, at least for right now. Tomorrow, we'll give out our favorite plays. We'll also go through the packet tomorrow.
Yes.
Tell you how all the numbers have moved. Vinny will be in. We may even see Chris. We'll be here at 9 a.m. tomorrow to get you ready for the big game. Be here at least an hour, probably longer. Might take us 5 hours to go through the whole prop book, in all honesty. But we'll be here. We'll be here tomorrow morning to get you ready for the big game at 9 a.m. And then be on the lookout for a little bit of a schedule change. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. But we'll tell you all about it on Monday. Tell you all about it on Monday right here on the channel. Alex, good luck.
Thank you.
Can you show the whiteboard one more time for everybody?
I will show the whiteboard. So I did put 5 college basketball on here. This Georgetown has already started. So we'll start with Wisconsin over 162. Dang it, I was supposed to take a picture. Let me get this for you, Sean. William and Mary over 167. We're going Tulane plus 9.5. And then we're going Bama and Arkansas. So if Sean wants to zoom in on this for us, those are my Wisconsin, Iowa over 162, William and Mary over 167, Tulane plus 9.5, and Bama and Arkansas over. So a lot of overs. My under already started. I also like St. Mary's under later, and you like Gonzaga over. So 2 games to watch later tonight.
Absolutely. All right, that's what we got. We're back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Sean, Drew Dog, thank you. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll see you again tomorrow, 1 day away from the big game right here on Sports by the Book.